Namaste, everyone. Welcome to today's guest talk titled Making Life Even More Musical. The speaker with us today is Dr. Mithu Pal. She is a very important part of the YES project. Dr. Mithu Pal is an accomplished singer, composer, and poet. She has been associated with Sri Aurobindo Ashram Delhi branch for more than 15 years now. Dr. Mithu holds a master's degree in biotechnology from IIT Roorkee and a doctorate in education from Jamia Millia University. She is currently working as academic supervisor at Cambridge School, New Delhi. Welcome, Mithu ma'am. It's lovely to have you as a speaker today, and we look forward to a beautiful session with you. Over to you.
Thank you, Arunima, for the nice words that you have used to introduce me. Uh, she's already said that the topic for today's session is making life even more musical. I had titled the talk as Making Life Musical, and Ramesh Bhaiya sitting here with me, he added the little word even, and that changed my perspective of how I should deal with the session. Now, it's all about music, and I don't have to say that music is profound. It is a spiritual art, and the role of music lies in helping the consciousness uplift itself towards the spiritual heights. Music follows the same rule as do the other things in life on earth. That is, unless they are turned to the divine, they cannot be divine. And Indian music has always had a psychic origin. And before, maybe I should not use the word psychic, consciousness, these are very big words. In this session, I would be talking and sharing, by and large, my own reflections when I look at a raga or when I look at the Indian music in a little more detail than I do when I'm singing it or when I'm listening to just plain Indian music. And I would like to start sharing my screen and music. Before that, okay. So, music as an acquired taste. Now, I would like to demonstrate as I go on talking about what are the things which, when I delve deeper into music, emerges vis-a-vis my own life, our lives, and all that we can pull out from music into our lives. There are lots of parallels which you can draw between you can say, the ornamentation in music, or the layers of music, or the simple notes that the music originates from. Now, music as an acquired taste. I'll just give you a small example. When I sing, ting, 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 one piece. Second piece. Third piece. So when I sang the first piece, ting, 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 I see Arunima smiling. So it gives the feeling that it has originated, the music belongs to a place somewhere in China, or maybe Japan, or maybe Korea. And the second piece, when I sang, undoubtedly it is Hindustani classical. And the third piece gives you the feeling that it is, of course, Western music, pop style. And but the interesting part here is that, just give me a second, because what's the next one? So I gave 3 samples. First one was ting, 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 ting. So it gives you the feeling that it originates from China or Japan or from the Oriental side of the world. And And then I sang the Hindustani classical piece, and then I sang something in Western. Now, the amazing part in all these three pieces is that I was singing the same notes. The notes were exactly the same. But one piece gave the feeling of being, it's a Chinese kind of a music. The other gave that it is Hindustani classical, and the third one gave that it is Western. So, music is an acquired taste, the geography of the place, the culture to which we belong to, the traditions, our way, our lifestyles, all impact the music of that place and the music that we are actually exposed to. The music that we are actually exposed to influences us in that we start identifying more and more with that. You can say the music of that part of the world. So, in our part of the world, something very nice we hear that is the rag or the ragam or the raga. Now, this are they the same things or are they different things? So they are basically the same things. Called in Carnatic, it is called as ragam. Some call it raga, some call it rag. Now, in Sanskrit, and this is something very beautiful and very unique to Indian music. In Sanskrit, the word raga means something that colors your mind and heart. And if we look at raga, what it is or what it stands for, it is nothing but a composition of sounds capable of bringing joy to the human heart while attaining beauty and harmony through notes and phrases. And it can be uniquely defined as a set of musical notes and their permutations and combinations to form a melody to evoke a certain mood or emotions. That's what a rag is. Now, the rag, if we just look at the word rag, what does it actually stand for? Now, if we look at a raga, it has got its layers, and there are three basic layers we can talk of the swara or the notes. The sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa, the octave. And in English, in Western music, we call it do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now, notes are something very basic. Without notes, without musical notes, the music can't be created. So, this is the most important and essential ingredient on which the any music from any part of the world is going to be based on. So, we have the notes and we call them sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni. And then we come to the phrasing, the chalan. It is nothing but the relationship between the notes. There are certain combinations of notes which come again and again in the raga, and they somehow give the identity to the raga. And the third layer is ornamentation or the aesthetics. What are the things which make the raga more beautiful, more pleasing, and you can say they uplift us? So, these three layers will deal one by one, and I'll take an example because without an example, nothing will be clear. Now, I take a very simple example of Rag Yaman. It has got 7 notes. And sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. And the ma is shown in different because the ma is it's not the normal ma. It is it is on a slightly higher frequency of ma, which comes after the normal ma. So, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. And the same while we are coming down, descending, sa, ni, dha, pa, ma, ga, re, sa. So 7 notes. In Rag Yaman, we use 7 notes. Now, once we have identified, okay, these are the swaras or these are the notes that are being used in Rag Yaman. Now, now, though there are 7 notes, there are some relationships, there are some combos of notes that will come again and again in Rag Yaman. And these will be very characteristic. The moment these type of combinations start coming in the raga, we will be able to tell, okay, this is Rag Yaman that is being sung. So 7 notes, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa, ni, dha, pa, ma, ga, re, sa. Okay. Now, there is a condition that while we are moving upwards or while we are ascending on the ascension, we are not going to use P. So P is, you have to omit P. You cannot use P. This is a characteristic of Rag Yaman. If you use P, it will become another rag. Okay. So when we sing it, ni re ga ma da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. And the combinations, the defining combinations, ni re ga pa re ni re sa. I sang the notes quite flat, but it doesn't sound like Yaman still. It doesn't sound like classical music. So I sing it with some difference now. Ni re ga ma da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa ni re ga pa re ni re sa. Now it seems classical. It sounds classical. And what did I do? Initially, I sang ni re ga pa re ni re sa flat. I just barely sang the notes as they are. But when I'm singing ni re ga, I'm actually singing sa ni ga re ga pa re pa ma ga re ni re sa ni sa ni ga re sa. What did I do? I'm not only singing now ni re ga. Yes, these are my main notes, but I'm touching. When I'm singing ni, I'm touching sa. Sa ni ga re ga. So I am taking help from the neighboring notes. I am taking their help in giving some beauty or some aesthetics to the notes which I'm supposed to use in Yaman. So these are not isolated notes that I'm singing, but here I'm touching upon the neighboring notes. And this is what ornamentation in raga, we can say it is ornamentation which brings about the aesthetics, you know. So when we go out for a party or when we are going out, we usually wear a dress, we will wear our dress, but then we will take a special care, you know, to look a little better. We'll put the bindi or we'll put in earrings. So like that, even in the raga, and it does seem, and you yourself, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you will find a better version of you, I'm sure. So ornamentation does this. It brings out the aesthetics, and to bring out the aesthetics, we need help from our neighbors. So in Hindustani music, the neighboring notes, which are around the main notes, they are called as shadow notes, and we call them Karn Swar. If we are cooking a meal and we run out of milk, or if we are making tea and we run out of milk, what do? We go to our neighbor's house and say, can I have a little bit of milk? So the neighbor will give me that milk. If I run out of spices while cooking, if I run out of zira or cumin seeds, I'll go quickly. My first option will be, and I'm in the middle of cooking. So my first option will be, can I take it from my next door neighbor? So I'll go, and the next door neighbor very graciously will give me, and the food will be equally tasty. And so while we are cooking, we are adding a lot of spices. Okay, and we are making the food tastier and delicious. So like that, raga also, the notes will seem very bland if we don't take the help from our neighbors. Life is like that. Our own life, if we see, we need people around us, we need elements around us, and without them, maybe the beauty of our own life is not going to manifest. You know, if we lead a solitary life, would we know what are the drawbacks in us and what are the things we need to overcome, or how we can make our life better? So we need people, we need neighbors, we need collective environment around us, and then only we can grow. So ornamentation in a rag, we call them alankar, and alankars are also in our life. beauty. We need ornamentation in our own life. I'm not talking of the jewelry or the accessories we put on with the dresses. I'm talking of real life accessories and real life people, neighbors. We need nature around us. So all surroundings, they bring out what is best in us in some way or the other. And that is what yoga is all about, isn't it? So it enhances the aesthetics of our own life. Now I'll take few examples from the raga and what are the different kinds, the common kinds of ornamentation that we use and how they highlight and something that is already existing within us and they can bring it out. The first ornamentation that we use in Indian music is meend. It is called meend. It is a smooth glide or a curve. You get a feeling of a curve while singing the notes. If I sing sa ma, I can sing sa ma flat. Okay, I'm saying sa and ma. There is no relationship between the two right now. So I sing sa ma or I sing sa ma. So you get the feeling of a curve. Now let me give you an example from Bollywood. So maybe that people can relate more quickly to it, faster to it. A favorite of mine is from from the movie Rang De Basanti. It goes something like this. तू बिन बता मुझे ले चल कहीं. I could have just said no. तू बिन बताए मुझे ले चल कहीं. It sounds so rough. But when I say तू बिन बता मुझे ले चल कहीं, it gives you such a feeling of closeness, you know. It talks about that closeness that I'm feeling with that person, and I'm relishing that. I am valuing that. So mean does that to the notes. And similarly, we have, and the biggest main creator in our life is the divine. And sometimes, like, you know, gently the mother is going to lift us and take us higher. And sometimes when she knows that we are going to fall, she'll quickly take us in her lap and she'll make us slide down gently. So there is a mean, you know. And there are situations in our life where the mean actually got created because of the notes which are in between. They don't let us fall. Okay. I could say sa ma ma sa. So I'll fall with a jerk. But Samasa. So the neighboring notes are helping me. They are giving me a cushion to slide on. The next ornamentation is khatka or a jhatka. In life, we get so many jerks. We get so many knocks, right? So in Indian raga also, you see that there is a little break or a little jerk, you know. So instead of singing sa re ga ma, I sing sa re re ga ga ma ma pa pa. It goes like that. Okay. Or I say sa re ga ma pa, like that. So there is a little jerk. And only when we get a little jolt or a little jerk and we come back to the normal position again in our lives, we realize the value of the normal note. When we are in that jerky situation, we are not liking it. But when we come back to the normal, we start appreciating the normal situations in our life even more. Bach gaye, you know, we get a bach gaye, you know. So, sa sa re re. So, an example from song, maybe we can take, maybe a popular one. Jhalak dikhla ja. So, this is from plain Bollywood. Or you can, we can take the example of maybe a Sufi song, and it says, "Mm, mm, mm, Damadam mast kalandar." So I give a mast kalandar. Okay. Ali da pehla number. So I give that jerk. But it sounds so nice. No? After the jerk, I come back to it. Or again, a song. हमें तुमसे प्यार कितना हमें तुमसे प्यार कितना. So there is a jerk, but then I come back. Now an interesting thing about the knock is sometimes one knock is not enough for us in our life. So similarly, in the ragas also, the khatkas, make our life even more beautiful, because when we come back to the normal, we start appreciating, we start feeling gratitude. So it enhances that. In khatka, when we are using it in the Indian raga, sometimes, as I said, एक झटके से हमारा कुछ नहीं होता है. We need lot more knocks. We need a real loud knocking. And when a series of khatkas in Indian music occurs together, one after the other, then it is called a zamzama. In Punjab and Maharashtra, they use it quite a lot. In Sufi music, they use it quite a lot. Let me take an example from a Sufi music where you will get the exact feeling of what is that zamzama or that khatkatana that occurs in the music. And it adds beauty to the music. सयोनी मेरा माही मेरे बाग जगावन आ गया सयोनी मेरा माही मेरे बाग जगावन आ गया मैनू हीर बनावन आ गया knock, 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 knock. So it gives you a knocking sound, but it adds to the beauty. And after a series of knocks that we get in our life, what do we say? Bhagwan, mere to karam phut gaye. It is not ending. My miseries are not ending. But when finally we look back after maybe few years to our life, we realize, yes, that loud knocking, that series of knocks that we got it because we did not learn the lesson from one khatka. We needed that series of knocks. We were not giving up. We were holding on to something very badly, which we needed to let go. So the khatkatana. So here is a, you can say, corollary, or you can say a parallel that you can clearly see. The next alankar or ornamentation is murki, a well-known ornamentation. Now, it's like murmura. You know, हम जब murmura खाते हैं और we take puffed rice, we don't take one rice, one grain of rice and put it in our mouth. We take a handful of it and we put it in our mouth, or we take a scoopful and then we put it in our mouth. Now, murki in Indian music is a set of notes taken quickly. And as if the notes are running one after the other. And in our life also, we see that there are many situations where we have to speed up. We have to catch up to others, or we really have to bus pakadni hai, chhut rahi hai. So we really have to go running. Okay, just by merely strolling, it's not going to solve the purpose. The divine wants you to take a run now, sprint forward towards something. So that could be a relationship. So murki is a set of notes taken quickly. An example. भैया ना धरो हम भागे. So I'm running after, the notes are running after one another. So this is an example of murki. And a very popular ornamentation again is andolan. It's a slow oscillation, a very serious note, almost meditative. Now, when we sing the notes in a very serious way, we hold on to one note and we give it long, long oscillations. The seriousness comes and one tends to go, and that meditative atmosphere can be created. For example, oh, so even the Om chanting that we do, it's also a very slow kind. Om. So it gets you into that meditative state. So when notes are used like that, so an atmosphere of calmness, serenity, profundity is created, and we start moving deep into ourselves. This was all about the ornamentation. Now, very important, very important to note here that the ornamentation, the proportion, and the timing is very important. If you use too much of ornamentation, you imagine a person from head to toe, that a lady, she's covered with only jewels, we can't even see her face. So that is not ornamentation. It will not highlight or bring out the aesthetics. So the proportion, how much of the ornamentation we are using, is also very important. If you use too much of murkis, or if you use too much of say khatkas, or if you use too much of meen, so you may get only one type of a music and it will become monotonous. So there will be no freshness, and too much of ornamentation actually kills the beauty. So, and the timing. And here we really have to thank the divine for the timing. The divine gives us only that much of trouble which he feels that we are going to bear. हमें उतनी ही तकलीफें उतने एक्सटेंट तक ही देते हैं जितना हम bear कर सकते हैं if we turn to him. And rest can be assured that the timing of the ornamentation, or the timing of the khatkas, or the difficulties, or even the ornamentation, there are times when he will allow you to enjoy life to the fullest, but there will be times when we will go down, we will feel those blockages, we will feel those circumstances, we will feel those high ups and lows particularly. And then to come out of it, you know, to come out of it, we start looking to the divine to pull us out, and he does. The mother does help us. And so proportion and timing, if we lead a normal life and we don't think too much about the obstacles and all, and if we think that okay, whatever it is, we'll come back to the normal, we'll come back to where we were. And in fact, in that process, when you're trying to come back to the normal, you have already surpassed a lot of difficulties, you have overcome a lot of you can say khatkas and murkis in your life. And that's it. Okay, so this was all about the ornamentation. Now, if we look at the body of a raga, when we talk of the body of a raga, broadly we can see that there is a portion of the raga which is called alap, which is we play around with the notes in a very soft way to build or create the atmosphere. And there is no rhythm that we have to bother about here. It is just the notes that are being used in the raga to set the atmosphere for the raga, so that we do not deviate or we don't start touching on other notes. So you can say the purity of the notes of the raga, that ambience is created in the alap. For example, and then comes the gat, which is actually a bandish. And bandish means आप बांध देते हैं, you tie it, you make it bonded to what? You bond it to the rhythm, tala, and also the tempo. The tempo can change, but the tala is fixed. So gat is the part of the raga which is there are limitations created. But the beauty of Indian raga is that in spite of the limitations, in spite of the, you can say, the boundaries that are being put to us with the rhythm and with the tala and all, yet there is a third part which emerges in Indian music, in the raga, and that is called improvisation. And it is perhaps the only music that allows infinite improvisations. The nearest to Hindustani classical, if we look at Western music, it is jazz, which allows for a lot of improvisations. But in Indian music, this improvisation is a vast, you can say it is one of the chunks of raga. And the mother has spoken about these variations, these limitless variations that can be created in the raga, that it is this infinite possibilities of improvisation that actually makes the you can say the person turn towards the psychic consciousness. The psychic consciousness opens, and because within a limited, with whatever you have, you are trying n number of possibilities, you are trying to put different permutations and combinations of the same things, yet you are able to create beautiful music only with those limited notes and only with those permutations and combinations. Yet there is no end to the improvisations in any raga. You take any raga, whether Yaman, Malkos, any raga, all the improvisation forms a large part of it. Now, I'll give you an example over here. What is improvisation and how does it work? So alap is all about creating the atmosphere. I'll give you a very small alap. I'll take a Prag Hamir, and the defining combination of Rag Hamir is ma pa ga ma da, ma pa ga ma da. This is the combination that will repeat itself again and again. And it becomes the identity of that rag. By listening to this, only this piece, you'll be able to tell, okay, this is rag Hamir that is being sung. So while creating the alap, while creating the ambience, I would sing something like pa ni da pa a classical example of Rag Hami from Bollywood. मधुबन में राधिका नाच रे गिरधर की मुरलियां बाजे रे. Now I'm bringing the tala. मधुबन में राधिका नाच रे गिरधर की मुरलियां बाजे रे. What about the improvisation? Now I am bonded to this tala with these lyrics, these notes, these few notes. How do I bring in the improvisation? So I can add new things to it. For example, tan. I can add a tan which will go something like this. Sani da pa ma pa da pa ma pa da pa ga ma da pa ga ma re sa. A little bit of tan. How do I improvise on this now? Sani da pa ma pa da pa ma pa da pa ga ma da pa ga ma re sa ni sa ma ga pa ma da pa ga ma da pa ga ma re sa. I made it a little longer. Now I can stretch this piece that I sang to further. Sani da pa ma pa da pa ma pa da pa ga ma da pa ga ma re sa ni sa ma ga pa ma da pa ma pa da pa ma ga pa ma pa da ni sa ni da pa da ni sa ni da pa ma pa ga ma da ma pa ga ma da ma pa ga ma da madhuban mein radhika naach re. If I'm not satisfied with this, I'll go further. I need to go higher. I'll go ma pa ga ma da pa ga ma re sa ni sa ma ga pa ma da pa ma pa da pa Sani 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 da ba ma ba ma ba ma ba ga ma ga ma ga ma da ba ga ma re sa. Madhuban mein radhika naach. I'm not happy with the notes. I want to improvise further. I want to improvise with something more. So I Madhuban mein radhika naach re girdhar ki muraliyan baje re. Mirdang baje tirkidum tata. Mirdang baje tirkidum ta. So I bring in notes from the tala itself and I start singing them. Mridang baje tirkidum tata nagat tom tom tatai tatai tata tom tom tana nana tom tom tana krandha 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 da 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 madhuban, and I come back to the bandish again. Madhuban mein radhika naach re. Now keeping the rhythm, I'm still not satisfied. I want to move further. So I bring in something more, and I don't feel the need for words also here. I don't feel the need of notes. I just want to sing the raga as it is, as it comes to my mind with nonsensical words. So I start. Ode tana na dir dir da nita da re dim tana na dir dir da nita da re dim tana na dir dir da nita da re na dir dir da nita da re na dir dir da nita da re dim tana, and I can extrapolate it endlessly. So each raga has got infinite possibilities. It doesn't end. And while we are trying to improvise again, what is our effort? Our effort is to reach to a higher vibration, to yet higher vibration, to yet higher vibration, till we are moving in some direction. And we will see through this talk, what is it that we are actually moving towards when we are singing a raga? What is it that we are actually moving with our own lives? We are striving, we are creating situations, we are tweaking the situations, we want to move forward. And in what way can we attach ourselves to those vibrations which can actually lift us, create that beauty and create that harmony in our own lives? So now, so Even when we look at the rhythmic part of a raga, the chaturanga, there are four parts. The notes, the swaras we know. Okay. Then lyrics, very important. We have not talked of the lyrics till now. I'm sure most of you must have seen that movie, The Sound of Music. And in that, while this while the protagonist, uh, she's trying to teach these seven children music, she sings. So she teaches them first do re mi fa sol la ti do. Then she wants them to teach the variations, so she starts teaching them. So do la fa mi do re, so do la ti do re do. And this little child, she says, but it doesn't mean anything. What are you singing? Do re mi doesn't make any sense. The teacher then she tells, so we put in words for the notes. And then she puts in the words to explain this. So the same notes now she will put in the lyrics and it will become so meaningful for everybody. So do la fa mi do re. So do la ti do re do. When you know the notes to sing, you can sing most anything. And that's how she creates that interest in the children, to take the note, put in the lyrics which are meaningful, sing the lyrics with feelings. And that's the beauty of the lyrics. Then we see the tala. So tala is something that bonds the lyrics. You are bound by the tala. You cannot deviate from the tala. Being in the tala, being in the rhythm of life, you have to take your life higher. You have to take the raga forward. And there are infinite possibilities. And then the last part in Rag Hamir, which I sang, ta-na-na-na, bude ta-na-na-na-na-na, there are nonsense words. I don't need words. Now, just the vibrations of the notes that I'm singing, the vibrations of the tala, the rhythm, it's a heady concoction. And in that heady concoction, I don't have any need for words. I can still connect with music. I can still create music, which is very sublime. It doesn't need words. It only needs maybe the technique, the skill, and yes, it needs something more that has to come from within. In the olden days, if we look before the invasions happened, before the Mughals actually invaded India and all. So the kind of bandishes that were being created, the kind of lyrics that were being put were actually very divine. They created a lot of devotion. They were devotional lyrics which were actually being put, and those lyrics were only maybe 4 to 5 lines or 6 to 7 lines. But within those lines, the singer would keep on singing those lines, improvise on them, bringing many more elements of music, and sing it and take it to such a profound level that there is a raise in the consciousness already. Then the singer is not singing for anybody, then the singer is singing for something very high. Okay. And so these kind of lyrics, Nada Swarupa Jan, or there would be stories from life of Krishna or Rama. So it had a lot of devotional angle to it. I'll take an example here. So true music has to be felt, has to be felt. What the lyrics, what we are singing, we need to feel the lyrics. The notes that we are singing, we need to internalize the notes. We need to feel the vibrations of the notes. And then we need to see how best we can use these notes, how best we can fill up these lyrics with profound feelings, emotions, and vibrations. So there is a rag which is called Hamsadhvani. It is an adopted rag from Carnatic music. I call it stolen from Carnatic music, but it is a very beautiful rag, and it actually helps. This raga is known to activate energy levels in the body, and the it activates the Muladhara chakra. And a lot of diseases, heart diseases, skin diseases, they get healed if one constantly listens to this raga. There's a lot of research which has happened in this raga. Rag Hamsadhvani, and you see the lyrics, how profound the lyrics are, and to what state they can take you. Sani pa gare ne pa sa नाद स्वरूप जान नाद स्वरूप जान नाद स्वरूप जान नाद स्वरूप जान तब हो तो है ब्रह्म ज्ञान राग स्वरूप मधुर गावत है गुनी सुजान pani sare gare sa ni pa gare sa gare pa ga ni pa sa ni re dhan tirikit dhan dhan tirikit dhan dhan tirikit dhan dhan de re na ta diya na dhan de re na ta na 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 ta diya na dhan ta diya na dhan ta diya na dhan. So the lyrics are such, Nada Swarupa Jan. Think that everything is that Nada Brahma. So automatically you feel that energy rising and lifting you up. So the way it is sung is also like that. Though Hamsa Dhwani can be sung in many different ways. There are many different songs in Hamsa Dhwani. But when the lyrics are such that you are talking of the Nada Brahma, you are talking of the universe, the cosmic energy and all. So the you can say the singing style also changes. So the musician puts something more into it that is required. And this requirement is as per the lyrics, as per the emotion, as per the feeling. And that brings out the best expression of that moment of the singer and of what the singer is able to, the musician is able to, you can say, imbibe from the atmosphere, put it into the lyrics, create that bhava within, and rise up. And rise up to what? It's all about connecting with the one. Now, music deepens the emotions and harmonizes them with each other. And Indian music is originally psychic and spiritual in nature, but for its execution, it needs to come through the vital passage. And this has been endorsed by the mother and Sri Aurobindo both, that when the vital comes into play, all the strength of the vibration can be felt. There are yogis who have reached that pinnacle of their yoga, but somehow they have subdued the vital. And when music originates from there, the music has technique, the music has skill, but it lacks bhav, it lacks emotion, it lacks feeling, it lacks the vitality. And so the vital, when it gets linked and moves higher to the higher vital and moves towards the psychic, then the music of a genius can be created. And so this is, otherwise music will be very dull if we just follow the techniques and if we just follow the rules and regulations. Similarly with our life, isn't it? Our emotions, our feelings, they help us in bringing out the best expression of us. And here, the it's not about subduing the feelings or killing the feelings. The feelings have to emerge and they have to get transformed into something higher, something higher, something higher. Okay, till we reach that profound, you can say, emotion or feeling that leads us to that direct connection with the supreme one. So vital passage is important. And Indian raga, the Indian ragas are so beautiful, the the musicians who created them, they were in a totally different level of consciousness when they created. So in Indian music, we have ragas for expressing different emotions, uh, or during the different timings of the day. There are morning ragas, there are evening ragas. Then there are, ragas where the morning and the evening meet, the Sandhi Prakash rag, or there are night ragas. There are early morning ragas. So why? Because at that particular time of the day, our body feels differently. It has different moods, different emotions get highlighted. We've just woken up from our sleep and it is early morning. So our state is in half sleep and half awake. So in that, if we hear some jarring music or if we hear some music which is not according to not according to the life force that we are feeling at that point of time, we will be disturbed. So for a smooth, for feeling good about the body and the mood and the environment, these ragas were created. A morning raga, I'll just give you an example. How beautifully the musician has penned down the lyrics, and it's Rag Ramkali, and from the Bhairav That. Sagari raina ke jage paage, sagari raina ke jage paage, sugar chatur surajana balma bhor hi mere aaye, sagari raina ke jage Page. So this is Rag Ramkali, a morning raga. Then there are ragas which have been created for seasons. You sing them in particular seasons only because in that season there are different feelings. There is something else happening in the environment. New things are coming in. So this newness of the environment, change of seasons, or within the season, you can say the dance of the nature through the seasons, it is brought out so beautifully in the ragas. There is a raga which is called Rag Basant. It is a spring raga. Basant means spring. It is all about the spring season. And when you sing this raga, you can actually feel spring frolicking around all over you, all around you. Spring is a time when buds, they start blooming. The fragrance from the flowers is all over the place. Creation, more beings are being created, and there are flowers blooming. There is freshness in the air. In the cold countries, the snow melts. So it's so beautiful. So to highlight that, there is a rag which is called Rag Basant, and it so beautifully, you feel so enchanted when you sing this rag in that season. You can, of course, sing it in other seasons also, but in that season, it gets really heightened. Rag Basant, and I would like to sing uh, in Hindi a translation from Rabindranath Tagore's, which he has sung in Rag Basant. ओरे 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 सब हो जाओ विभोर आनंद में, आज नवीन प्राणमय बसंत में। ओरे 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 पिछले सारे छोड़ के बंधन, आओ करे उनका अभिनंदन, अपने को आज नवीन प्राण में दे बिखेर दे दिगंत में, आज नवीन प्राणमय बसंत में। ओरे ओरे ओरे। So profound, right? So it seems as if everything is blooming. Leave your past behind, frolic, and welcome the newness of the season, of the surroundings. So Rag Basan. So Indian music is very profound in this way. It has taken care of the body, the moods, the emotions, the environment in which it can be sung, and it brings out the best possible in the personality, in the environment, and these vibrations remain in the environment. So it's all about connecting with the one. So how? So ancient Romans would say all roads lead to Rome. And when you are in Pondicherry, we say all roads lead to the Samadhi. So when we are talking about Indian music, all ragas, they lead to something profound, and that is the Nad Brahma. Nad Brahma, it is, according to the Nad Yoga, which is supposed to be the yoga from where music or sound originates, the seed from which the entire creation has evolved. And it is the ultimate and the transcendental sound. And the world is nothing but a projection of the sound which is originating from this Nada Brahma. The universe is sound. Nada is sound. Brahma is God. Even in the Bible, there is a reference. It is said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And in Sufi, there is a Nad Yoga practice even in Sufi, and they call it Surat. They also believe that the Nad yogis in Sufi, you can say, Sufi mysticism, they also believe that the origin is one, it is the ultimate, it is the primal sound which contains all the vibrations. Now, how? How do we reach this? So, basically, if we look at our own lives, just like a raga, we have the notes and we have to maintain the sanctity of the notes. If you change the notes, it will become a different raga. So we have to keep the purity of the notes. We have to follow the chalan, the relationships between the notes. We can't change those. If we change those, a new raga will develop. And these are the basic requirements. And there is an identity of the raga which has been given. The ego of the raga has been given to the raga to maintain its identity. But at some point of time, it will improvise and it will let go of the ego to merge fully to that Nada Brahma, and it has to let go of everything, all vibrations that it has accumulated. And finally, what remains is the resonance with which is emanating from that Nada Brahma. This is the potential of a raga, and this is our life is like a raga, and the same potential is for us also. Now, every raga can be sung to its ultimate possibilities, and there are infinite improvisations we can do through the raga. You can reach the most sublime. Now, if we look at creation, we see that a reality has been manifested in the form of what? In the form of vibrations, starting from that primal sound. So, when an object, it is well known in science that when an object vibrates with a tremendous speed, an unimaginable speed, it becomes still. And so, if we look at it very closely, it means that the highest point of motion of and vibration is stillness. And at this stage, it either does not vibrate, or it does not seem to vibrate, or it vibrates at such a high frequency that the human faculty is not able to perceive it. And one needs to develop more faculties in order to perceive that high, that you can say that kind of tremendous sound vibration. So it is the nada, they say that it is the creative principle of all matter. So now we know that we have to connect with the one, the nada brahma, and the path is to find the primal, the finest, the most sublime, the ultimate, that inner sound. How do we do it? Listen, everybody, all of us, we can't sing. We know that there are people who don't have this faculty of singing in a proper melody. Not everybody can sing. And but we can all listen. We can all hear. And listening is also an acquired skill. I would like to stop sharing the screen now. So it is speaker में कर दो. So how do we do this? So is singing or playing the instrument the only way where we can, touch base with that high kind of music? All can't sing, all can't play the musical instruments, but we can all listen. And listening is an acquired skill. This is appreciation of music can be taught from a very young age. When I was small, we are three sisters. And I remember the days I have not had a very, you can say, hardcore training in classical music, maybe 4 or 5 years of training. But there was always music in the house. My father used to sing. Even my mother used to sing. Not so much. But there was always music in the house. Whether there was food in the house, whether we had new clothes during Durga Puja or not, it didn't matter. But always we were very happy with the kind of music. There are times when I would see my father sing the whole night. He would just get lost, completely immersed in the music. I, being very small, I would just look at him and I would just feel very happy. I don't know why. I was not able to perceive at that point why am I liking it so much. Even I would stay awake with him for long hours. But music was there all around us. So the environment of music, good music, fine music, pleasant music, if it is there from an early childhood, and if that exposure is there, automatically that you can say the vibrations of the musical notes and the power and the expression and the rhythm, everything starts getting seeped into somewhere. It goes somewhere. I don't know where it goes in the body, but it definitely goes and lodges itself somewhere. And it is through that, the vibrations are created which remain. And when next time or even after many days you hear the same kind of music, or you hear music, the vibrations which were there in your body which got created, which you imbibe, they start resonating with the vibrations of the music outside. And then even more, the even more involvement with music does happen. So the mother said once that if you can listen well and let yourself go completely while listening, you can rise to a great height in terms of psychic consciousness. So the disciple asked the mother that, Mother, how can one listen? And the mother gave an explanation about, she talked of great musicians, and she says that when one listens, one just listens in stillness. The whole body goes still. There is no movement whatsoever, neither in the body nor in the mind. There is an identification which happens completely with the source from where the music is originating, or the person who is creating that music. And in that identification, all the noise from the surroundings and all the jarring things from the surroundings, they get subdued. And that is the best connect that one can make with music. So, music, one has to listen like that, go completely still in body, mind, and just feel the music. So basically, it's about listening to the one in everything. Music is all about that. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just, I think, overshooting the time. I'd like to share my screen. And every life, I feel that it has a raga and has the possibilities of uniting with the one. It can improvise, become more beautiful, create more harmony. And every raga can become the raga of love. Every raga has got that potential. In the ashram, uh, when I started singing, I heard a term, musical offering. And it's not a musical performance, it's not a singing, it's a musical offering. And that term, it awakened me to something very deep. Is it the singer who is making the offering only? Is the listener not offering what he is listening? So it works both ways. And like in the Kena Upanishad, one says that reality is not what we perceive through our senses. We have to go behind the reality. And this is that the Kena Upanishad has a mention, that which the ears hear not, but that by which the ears can hear. Know that to be the Brahman and not this that we call hereafter. So listen to the one who is making you hear. And I would like to end this presentation with a composition by Guru Nanak Ji. I'll start sharing my screen again. And I would just ask you to just listen. Don't mind my voice, how it is being sung. Just connect to the lyrics and the melody and the depth that is hidden in the song. Here I am, connecting eye to eye through Zoom. I connect eye to eye with each one of you, and I wonder who the one is. Myself, you, the bird sitting there, the flowers, the sky, the river, or all of them. And Guru Nanak Ji gives us a profound message. He says, Tera sadira, your sweet, your divine call, your divine message. तेरा सदरा तेरा सदरा सुनी जे भाई जे को बहे अला तेरा सदरा सुनी जे भाई जे को बहे अला जोगी होवे जोगवे भोगी होवे खाए तपिया होवे तप करे तीरथ मल मल नाए तेरा सदरा सुनी जे भाई जे को बहे अला जैसा बीज सो लुणे जो खटे सो खाए के पूछ ना हो वही जिसण निशान जाए तेरा सदरा सुनी जे भाई जे को आले बहाई तैसो जैसा काढ़िए जैसी कार कमाए जो दम चित न आवई सो दम बिरथा जाए तेरा सदरा सुनी जे भाई जे को बहे अला इहो तन वेची बै करी जे को लय बिकाए नानक कम ना आवई जित तन नाही सच्चा नाम तेरा सदरा सुनी जे भाई जे को अले बहाई तेरा सदरा सुनी जे भाई जे को अले बहाई तेरा सदरा तेरा सदरा The earth has its music for those who listen with love. And listening with love, too, is essentially singing in love. Namaste. I think I overshot the time. Sorry about that. So,
Thank you, Mithu ma'am. And it was so wonderful, so beautiful. And I literally felt goosebumps during the Hansadhwani Naad Brahma Bandish that you sang. Of course, in the most positive sense. Thank you so much. It was beautiful. Participants, if anyone has a question, anyone wants to share something, please go ahead. We have some messages in the chat box. So many loving words and appreciation for
thank
you
you.
in the chat box.
This is the first talk of its kind that I did. I was also quite apprehensive how it would go, especially on Zoom. If it is offline, it can become very interactive, but yeah.
Dr. Bijlani, Do you have anything to share, sir?
Well said that all perfection has an imprint of the divine. So the type of perfection that some people get in their throats and then later in the circumstances of their lives, which enables them to reach the type of heights and perfection which Mithu has been able to reach, carries that imprint in that we all saw. And when, as he said, the best way one can express one's gratitude for having received that type of perfection in a certain part of the body and mind is to share it with others, not only to give them joy, not only to make them have a pleasant experience, but to also get connected with the divine. If they listen with love, they also sing with love while listening. The two go together. And now I think after hearing all this, even a person like me who is ignorant, totally ignorant about the technicalities of music, will be able to appreciate not only the perfection of the imprint of the divine in the perfection, which I've always enjoyed, but also look at it from a different light. That is how in the music are planted so many features which are a normal part of life, and how they make the music more pleasing. All the jerks and jolts and the various oscillations. Now, these are things which we have also in everyday life, not in everyday life, in life. They are a part of life. And if we take inspiration from music, then we can use all those also to make life at least a little more melodious, if not harmonious. So that can help us go through life with much greater equanimity, much greater joy, in spite of what is going on in life. Another feature that struck me was improvisation. And that reminded me of a dialogue which Dilip Kumar Roy had with Romain Rolland. And Dilip Kumar Roy, and Mithu will not mind the comparison, was also an accomplished musician and an intellectual, and one of the dearest disciples of Sri Aurobindo. So when this person was having this conversation with this Frenchman, he asked him that why don't you write down Indian music the way the Western music is written down? So he said one thing I told him was that one reason why we don't do it is because it's not always pre-arranged, everything in minute detail, exactly how it will be done. There's improvisation. And that will take away that element if we try to write it down, because writing fixes you to a certain script. And that's why we don't write Indian music. But then after that, Dilip Kumar Roy did make some attempt so that the Westerners could get a better idea of Indian music. And then, of course, left that provision of improvisation in the Indian music, which means that, it goes beyond the mental. If we look at it from Sri Aurobindo's perspective, this distinction between Western music and Indian music takes Indian music to a level which goes beyond the intellect. The intellect has a tendency to create boundaries, to have clear-cut criteria about what is right and wrong, and if possible, have everything structured in advance and then follow that script. But when we go beyond the reason, none of these things applies. You just go by what inspires you. And that is what the musician can do while singing in Indian music. And that is why there's no script that necessarily has to be written down in advance. That's why they don't write Indian music. So Indian music, like everything else in India, is originates in the divine, and it's permeated by that spirit of the divine. And to those who are specially gifted and blessed, for them, it becomes a way of self-expression, and they can use this self-expression the best by sharing it with others to inspire others, at least by listening, if not by actually singing. So with these few comments, I think I'll hand it over to Mithu for any further afterthoughts that she might like to share.
Not really. When I was really looking as to how to put the improvisation, and it all fitted very nicely, because while I was also with the little bit of training that I had in music, I never looked at music like this. So when you really start looking at music as music, not per se just to sing or just to play the instrument, but as something which is very deep, which takes you very deep and very high. So I think that is where the real connection with music actually happens. And the purpose why music is in our lives, it manifests at that time. It becomes very clear to you at that time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mithu ma'am. I think everyone is falling short of words right now. But yeah, much appreciation and love to you, Mithu ma'am. No
Thank
questions
you.
as such. Everyone enjoyed the session. Thanks
Thank
again.
you. Yeah, there is one thing which I just wanted. I wrote down and I forgot, because I thought I was running out of time. But here, before Arunima, you really wind up. There was a
Yeah,
prayer
please.
which I wrote down for everybody, just 2 lines, and I wanted to end it like that. I just remembered it. A prayer for all of us. May we all sing and listen to the sublime lyrics of love in the true decibels of love.
Thank you, everyone. I thank the participants also for being with us today. Thanks again, Mithu ma'am, for a wonderful time, wonderful experience. We can close today's session with a moment of peaceful silence. Namaste.